Please be advised, the Kind of Movie Critics podcast may contain spoilers. This includes most of the movies you're going to want to see. This shit also contains profanity, so there's that. Enjoy.
Yo, it's Treezy.
Hey, this is Kory.
Smart in the mailman.
And I'm Young Leezy.
And you already know what it is. Fuck Jesse T.
Jesse T.
Just kidding. Shout out Jesse T, man.
T.
But I don't think he fucks with us anymore. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it on mic.
Yo, he's in the chat liking mad things.
Yeah,
and then we talk about a movie he cares about. He chimes in really quick. But we're like, yo, I thought he was coming today because I was like, can y'all make it at 10? And he hit like. I was like, oh, okay.
He was engaged.
I specifically was like, Jesse and Martin, can y'all make it?
He was engaged.
He hit like. He ain't here.
Just kidding. We love you, Jesse. But we do have our possible replacement for you. I'm sorry. I don't know how else to say it, man. Like, we got Chandler in the building.
Hi.
It's
good to be back.
Yeah, man. No, listen, the Westworld episode was fun.
Yes.
Great insight. So, we all loved you here, and we were like, got to bring Chandler back, man.
Thank you.
So,
I'm really excited to have my sophomore slump episode. It's really good.
Sophomore slump.
right. That's what's up, man.
Thanks for the vote of confidence.
Happy holidays to everybody. Or I guess post-Christmas, happy holiday,
It's
whatever.
Kwanzaa. Just say happy Kwanzaa.
Yeah, happy Kwanzaa. There you go.
Hey.
R.I.P. to Penny Marshall, because I think she passed away in between the last episode we dropped in this episode. So, of course, we want to get that out the way. We waited too long for Stan Lee, so we want to give these people the roses while
They're still warm.
while they're still warm. Huh?
Yeah, but
She's gone.
she's gone. You can't give her the roses.
Yeah, you can't give her the roses.
I can lay them on the grave.
The warm grave, not the
warm, exactly. The warm grave.
Stanley made it to 100, yo. Almost 100.
That motherfucker lived.
Yeah.
He lived the right kind of life.
Apparently, his family and his estate is in shambles.
Of course it is.
Yeah, apparently his family's been robbing him for years and
No, they wasn't robbing him. He didn't give a fuck.
Well,
He was still very, very rich.
Getting all the massages he wanted still.
yeah, I'm just saying.
That's funny. It's like, I have $1 billion.
Yeah.
Someone stole $1 million from me. Okay.
It doesn't matter at that point.
Do you miss it? You can't even see all your money at that point.
Yeah, but I do wonder how it all affects. Is it going to affect anything with Disney, or is their shit
No,
I mean-
solid?
doesn't
He
own
really
Marvel.
own that stuff.
Yeah.
Disney owns all of that.
Oh, okay, so it's 100%. It's not like a Pixar
I
thing
think
where
he
it's
still
like
has intellectual property rights, but I don't think that they I think they have it too. If that makes any
Yeah.
sense, he
I thought it
probably
was
can
like how
still use
Lucas sold Star Wars. It's done. He sold it. I think
No,
they
because
consult
they-
him out of respect, but it isn't.
I don't,
He may
as
be
far
on
as
the
the
board or
films
something.
go, but I'm talking about conceptually, I think he still had intellectual property rights because they were still, Marvel was still producing outside of Disney, right? They were still producing actual books.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking. Does that make sense? So his
yeah.
family still could profit in that way.
Gotcha. A lot of shit has actually happened, and a lot of stuff has come out since the last time
Past participle.
we wow.
You
Since
said
last time we-
have went on one of our episodes, and it's like nails in the chalk.
Yeah.
Where I hate when people say have went.
Yo, I can't wait till you fuck up.
I do it, but you don't even notice because you're too busy using words incorrectly.
Yo, that's
I don't know
crazy.
what she said. She said past participle.
That's what I'm saying. That's a
and-
past
and-
partisan,
Yeah.
ickle, popsicle, whatever the fuck you just said.
It's all good. I heart you. Just know I want the best for you.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. But a lot of stuff came out holiday season, and I think the biggest anticipated one for, I would say, mostly everybody at this table. I'm sure I speak for everybody when I say this, but the Us trailer, man.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's really gonna be good, but part of me feels like it's gonna be tone deaf. He's about to step in shit. I really hope that's not the case.
What makes you say that? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm chewing
What
the
would make
cookie.
you think that?
First of all, Leezy bought these cookies for the crew, and they're good, so that's what I'm chewing on right now. But go ahead, though.
I feel like because he's saying we're our own worst enemy, right?
Mhm.
So I think there's a black and white relationship that's being explored, right? Whiteness is relationship to blackness and Get Out. This movie is about black people relating to themselves.
Is
So-
it black people or just people in general?
Pretty sure it's black people.
Okay, all right.
Just because of the social cues in the trailer, the way that Winston Duke is talking, and then like Lupita
snapping off
beat.
Yeah, that was big.
And the cultural references, like, you know, if you put on the Loonies, my daughter's not like, what is that? And she's 11, like she's singing with it. So that being said, like, I mean, those are the cues that I took away from it. It says we're our own worst enemy. And I think that he's very intentional in things that he does. And so him making those characters black is not an accident. So I think it's like black people's relationship to ourselves. He's going to explore that in some way. I'm not sure what facet that is. I don't know if it's being disconnected from your culture or black on black crime or, you know, a deeper dive into like internalized depression. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm just hoping he doesn't step in shit with this.
But what gives you the idea that it may be tone deaf is, I guess, what I'm questioning.
Because there's so much opportunity for it to be. That doesn't mean it will be.
Right.
But
I mean,
I think that there's a million ways you can get that wrong. So that doesn't mean he will.
I think if the trailer started with the acclaimed director of 12 Years a Slave, I think that I would be on your side. But with Jordan Peele,
Oh no, it's not a side. I'm not calling it early that he's going to fuck up. I'm just saying that I think that there is more of an opportunity for him to.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that he knocks it out of the park the same way he did the last one.
yeah, my money's on it. After seeing the last OG.
Bro.
Yo, after seeing the last OG, and I you know, before I saw that, I just saw TBS and Tracy Morgan, and I was like, this is like a
so
fucking train wreck
good.
about to happen. And that's an amazing show. So after seeing that he was behind that, there's nothing to me Jordan Peele can't tackle. So my money's
Yeah, I
on
saw
he's
Tracy Morgan. I checked out.
No, it's
really good.
Okay.
This is the best thing Tracy
really don't
Morgan
like Tracy
that I've
Morgan.
ever seen. Tracy Morgan.
I never watched it.
I wasn't a fan of 30 Rock,
30
man.
Rock was fire to me.
I didn't watch
You
it.
said what? 30
30 Rock was fire to me. Especially that
okay.
first episode had me dying on the floor.
I can't remember the first.
Did you watch the
episode,
last
pilot.
OG?
I did. I watched a few episodes. I liked it. I mean, it's a very New York show. Probably one of the most New York shows I've ever seen. I never got around to finishing it because it's not that I don't enjoy it. It's like I just like other shows, so I never really finished it.
Oh, you something else had your attention more.
Gotcha.
Bro, like it just clicked for me yesterday, even though, because I'm watching it the second time. And my man friend was like, I want to watch it with you. And I was like, I'm finished with it, but we can watch it again because this shit's funny. But it just clicked for me that Malik Yoba's character's name is Wavy, but he's bald-headed.
Yo, the fact that he wears that big ass plated chain that says Wavy is hilarious to me, bro. Like
In 2003, like it makes all the sense.
in 2000,
But I was trying to figure out why he had on like the Dapper Dan Gucci shit, right? And like, you know, my man friend's a little younger than me. So I was like, yo, why has he got that Dapper Dan shit on? It's supposed to be 2003. And he was like, people dress like that in 2003. And I was like, I was outside. And no, they didn't.
yeah, no, they
people,
didn't.
people was wearing Rocawear velour suits.
yeah,
Like in 2003,
and
that's what people
Pele's.
were wearing. Yeah. I'm like, no, it was,
Yeah.
That's funny though. Cause like in restaurant, I'm like, why does he have on?
Yeah.
I don't know. So shit he bought from Fordham Road. It's all good though.
But it's probably, to Martin's point, being a New York show, they were probably trying to really just pack a lot of culture just
Possibly.
into there. Because, the story's not going to go before 2003.
Right.
So it's probably just trying to pack a lot of the New York street culture
Yeah.
from a lot of different eras into that.
And I've said, after watching this, I kind of understand why Tracy Morgan had that moment where he snapped off about the reporter asking him about Tiffany Haddish, because it really was his moment.
Yeah.
And that's not anything against Tiffany Haddish, but like Tracy Morgan's pretty accomplished as a comedian and a comedic actor, and then
Very much.
asking him like, well, what's it like to work with Tiffany is insulting.
Yeah.
But she's really good in it, and
Best thing I've seen her in.
and I feel like this kind of shows that she has some range and she can do something other than what we're seeing from her most.
Yeah. Yeah, they utilize her very well. But we kind of jumped off the Us train and jumped onto Last OG. I know, did anybody else have any hard opinions or thoughts about or excitement about the Us trailer?
I was happy about it. I had mixed feelings about Get Out. I think I've come around on Get Out. Now I think it's really good, but I was confused at the tone when I first saw it.
I think a lot of people were.
Yeah, because I was expecting something that was scarier than the film actually is, and I think he goes for a very like Twilight Zone kind of tone. Like it's funny and it's not scary so much as it is ironic a lot of the time.
So here's the thing. And just in case listeners don't know, Chandler's white, right?
I'm white.
Chandler didn't give it away.
Well, my dog's name is Chancellor. And he's
That's a dog.
My
Yeah, he's a
sister's
black dog.
My sister's baby sister, who has a different mom. Her name's Chandler.
Yeah. So
She's
so
black.
so here's the thing.
Just saying.
Here's the thing. Like, it kind of is scary sometimes being like the only black person in an all white room.
Sure.
can
My
be
my
very-
perspective might be the reason why I was like, oh, this is not scary to me.
Is that your smart white man voice?
This is my regular voice.
Everyone has one.
That's funny.
Could turn it off and on.
But I do
With
get
the
what
code
you're
switching
saying. Like
actions.
it was a little bit more of the like social thriller, I guess, than
Yeah,
it
that's
was
what-
horror.
That's what Martin called it. He called it a social political thriller.
Yeah.
I thought it was
and I
going to
agree
be
with that.
like, since he had the comedic background, I thought it was going to be like scary movie. Like I thought it was going
Yeah.
to be like
I'm so
a
glad it wasn't. I hate
a
that
complete
bullshit.
comedy. Like it would not be serious in any way.
Right.
Like I didn't know what we were getting involved in. Honestly, I was like, oh, we're gonna go see the Jordan Peele movie.
Right.
Like that looks cool.
And I think that's what caught me off guard the first time. I was just like, wow, this is not what I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I've come around on it, but this trailer for Us is really scary. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
viscerally upsetting. I had chills the first time I was watching. I was watching it on a computer with headphones at work.
Wow. It's funny you say that because yesterday me and Treezy went to go see Vice, and you missed the trailer for Us that played in the theater.
Fuck.
Yeah. And
I definitely
there
watched
was
it in
like,
theater
there
last
was,
night.
There was like an older couple behind us, and I remember after the trailer went, she was like, "I don't want to see that. I didn't like the trailer."
Oh wow.
Like, well, she
Like
was like,
you.
she was like, the trailer's scary. I don't want to see it. Like, yeah, which I thought was funny. And it is.
Damn it,
It's
I missed
really-
it in the theater.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you did.
Fuck.
That was like one of the only good trailers.
What did I text you? I said, man, I fucking hate missing trailers in the theater.
We're in an internet age. You're not missing.
No,
them.
no, but to see it on the screen.
the
Oh,
good
you wanna see
sounds
it?
and
Oh,
everything.
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
that's different, man. Like,
Oh yeah, you missed it. That's fair.
fucking
I almost wish that I had watched
hell.
it for the first time in the theater.
Yeah, I agree.
I miss that feeling. I've talked about that before. Like seeing a trailer in the theater, and that's the first place you see it. Usually it isn't because of the way things are now.
With social media, it isn't, especially if it's from someone that you admire or enjoy, like you're going to know about it ahead of time. I do still get gems of things that I'm not expecting in the theater, especially when they come from like lesser known people.
To me, it's fun because you don't know what it is. So like, because even in social media, you see the title. You're like, oh, this is the Us trailer, and now I'm gonna go watch it. But if you saw it in the theater, you're like, oh shit, what is this? You know, I think that's we've lost that. And then the other factor is seeing a trailer in the theater for a movie you didn't know at all existed. You're like,
That's an
oh,
amazing feeling.
they're making a sequel to that.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I
an
didn't
amazing
know
feeling.
that.
Do you
And
remember when something like a sequel for something someone was excited about would come in the trailer and people would like clap for the trailer?
Yeah.
You don't get that no more. Everybody knows everything. Information age.
Like, I can never replicate the excitement I felt when I saw the Mortal Engines trailer. I was like, yo, this is going to be... I'm totally kidding.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm
It was horrible.
I thought that was going
It was
over
a
my
joke.
head.
No.
I did
it's super
not
serious.
even enjoy the like Lord of the Rings. So I was like,
Really?
excited
I
about
like
that.
Lord of the Rings. It checks a box.
We've been over this. No.
I haven't seen Mortal Engines, but Hugo Weaving has a pretty spectacular wig in it. So if there's one reason I'm going to see it, it's that.
It's because for the wig.
It's for the wig. Yeah.
Wego's wig. Weaving. What is it? Weaver.
Hugo
Weaving's
Weaving's
weave.
Weaving's wig. Well, how about you with the Us trailer, Martin?
I'm trying not to judge it at all because I know when I first saw the Get Out trailer, I wasn't really into it.
Right.
I thought he might fuck it up, but
Agreed.
this I'm not sure. So I'm just kind of like I'm gonna wait till the movie to watch it to see how it is.
Right.
I'm curious of, you know how like sometimes you mentioned earlier the sophomore slump because a lot of times movies the first time when you have budget restrictions, you have well, they kind of let you do your own thing and it becomes a hit on its own, but then when you get a second time at bat and you have all the money, all the support,
You get a
then
blank check.
Yeah, you get the blank check and then it sucks.
I don't think
Like-
he has a blank check with
I
this. I,
know
think
it-
it's a low budget movie.
I was
Yeah,
about
but I
to
mean,
say-
like
but-
he's got more respect
So-
and more like clout now.
I'll say
So-
this. I'll say this. Like, I don't think he has a blank check, but I think he definitely has the ability to say, okay, I want 20 million for this movie. Right.
Blumhouse. I don't
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah. I think after the performance of Get Out and after
Blumhouse
like,
made a lot of
could
money
say
off of
that.
him.
He could say that. I don't necessarily think he'll do that though.
Yeah. Okay. So my point is this. My point is that like I don't think Blumhouse would like. I think the worst case scenario they would do is just have somebody kind of audit his budget just to make sure that's what he really needs. But I think if they came to the conclusion that he really need 20 million and he asked for it, he would get it. But what I was my whole point was looking at this trailer, I didn't feel like it was too far, it was too much of a big step from Get Out from a production angle. I was like he went into this, you know, keeping the same sort of containment
and practicality.
Yeah, that made Get Out good, and it's really going to be a story driven horror. You know what I mean? And make it work in that way. So I personally think he has the ability to ask for whatever he wants, but I don't think he
necessarily has a proclivity.
Yeah, why? Leezy's wearing her hat like Hove and fucking Streets is watching right now. It's fucking hilarious.
First of all, I'm a whole black girl, and I have the most amazing silk press.
It was a more Memphis Bleak.
Yeah, it is definitely Bleak. Shout out to you, Malik.
No, but listen, that came from Hove and Streets is watching.
Yeah.
I'm
I know,
you.
but like just to explain why I'm doing that, since he had to narrate some shit nobody needed to know.
Yeah,
I have
funny.
an amazing silk press, and I have to go to the gym to lift weights after this because I do that, and I don't want to fuck my hair up. And then my head just got a little warm, so I lifted my hat up.
That's funny. That's some shit I do, dog. That's hilarious.
It's impressive that it's still on your head because I'm like, I don't know what's holding it there, but
Big ass head.
That's fucking hilarious. But yeah, my thoughts about the Us. It's it definitely. I think from a box office perspective, he's really going to set a bar here. Because I think the whole world is sort of waiting to see what he's doing after his performance with Get Out. And I personally think he is going to, first of all, just hearing the Loonies in the trailer, the I Got
amazing.
5 on it,
That
like
creative.
ridiculous. And it was like, it wasn't one of those things where I felt like I was the only person that caught it, but it was one of those things I definitely did not think the whole world was going to attach themselves to that and find that unique in that way. Because when I first heard it, I was like, "Fuck, this is great." I Got 5 on was like my favorite shit in like
He made it
95,
scary.
94. Yeah, he made that shit scary as fuck. Or whenever it came out, I said 95. I think it was 95. But he made that shit scary, and that just gave me so much excitement for. That's like, to me, that's like a metaphor for his career and how I feel like his career is really about to go, where he just takes things that are nostalgic to people in my demographic, my age range, and really about to just incorporate them into like cinema, just cinema and art, man. Like,
That's why I'm so excited to see what he does with Twilight Zone.
Yeah. I'm a little bit more skeptical of Twilight Zone, to be honest. But I am
That's like
excited.
giving Jordan Peele a Black Mirror. Why not? And a limitless Black Mirror.
yeah, I would say why not? Because
go ahead.
I think he's already making that type of art with his horror films.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's like, why do you want to put him in that box when he can do something that's an homage to that and still have the creative freedom that comes with that?
Well, and then my thing too is like, what makes Black Mirror different for me is Black Mirror it's
the central theme.
There's a theme, and it's a little bit more specific. Whereas Twilight Zone is just
Whatever they
weird
feel
shit
like
in the
showing
world.
you.
Yeah, there's the boundaries a lot further off than Black Mirror. And to be honest, when you go back and look at Twilight Zone, there's way more shitty episodes than there are good episodes, man.
Yeah, amazing stories too.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see if, obviously I don't know too many people that watched Twilight Zone when it premiered, but like, were some of the episodes dealing with some stuff in society that maybe we're not
That big John Landis scene where the people died, that one was about like bigotry and racism.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the movie, though.
Yeah, no, I'm
right?
just saying,
Yeah.
but it's a vignette.
Yeah, that was to answer your question, yes. There's social themes, but then there's also just weird shit.
There's weird shit. There's these lighthearted things. There's sci-fi, like anything you want to do.
Does Sci-Fi still do the marathon around New Year's or New Year's Day?
They don't need to. Fucking Netflix has it.
Oh, really? Oh,
it's all on
you're right.
Netflix.
Sci-fi. Who watches
Yeah.
Amazing Stories is on
I actually
Netflix
love the
too.
Sci-Fi channel.
Really? I mean, I don't have
there's
cable,
a lot
so
of shows I like up there, like Magicians, Deadly Class is coming out.
Magicians is like-
Sharknado 7.
Yeah.
Magicians is like, what if Harry Potter had people who could fuck?
Yeah, kind of. But I kind of agree with you as far as like him doing Twilight Zone. I'm not really with it because we kind of saw this play out with Amazon, right? They had
the Philip K. Dick thing.
the Philip K. Dick stories, and
I
like,
never even finished it.
a couple of them were good, but most of them like didn't match up to Black Mirror.
Yeah, Black Mirror works because it's specific. And then, but that's also kind of what works against it because we see a lot of things repeating themselves in these stories. Like, when you do these anthology stories, man, like it's just, there's only but so far you can go with them until it starts getting repetitive. Because that's what happened with Twilight Zone. A lot of shit started getting repetitive, and it burns out.
I agree because there was like 1 or 2 episodes of Black Mirror. I was like, yo, we've kind of done this.
Crocodile and the entire history of you are basically the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so it was like, okay. I mean, I like Crocodile. I like the other one, but like.
And Bandersnatch definitely feels like it's born out of Shut Up and Dance.
Yeah. So it's like, all right, guys. Like, I mean, I enjoy all of them, but you're right. It's the same shit.
Yeah. So I'm skeptical. I mean, I think I'm still going to tune in for Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone, but I'm definitely skeptical about it.
He hasn't. Well, here's the thing. He hasn't struck out yet. So I mean, he can, and I think
Post Key and Peele, he hasn't struck out.
Right, because I didn't watch Key and Peele. I don't think he's funny, but
Honestly, I feel like because a lot of people hate on Key and Peele, like I think I could take the 10 best Key and Peele sketches and put them up against like the 10 best Chappelle Show sketches.
I agree with you. I agree that Key and Peele was still. I enjoyed it.
They have like some classic like Substitute Teacher, like the football joint. Like they have some like real classic sketches. It's just a lot of people didn't watch the show.
Yeah.
What's better than that? Remember when Chappelle was popping? They had the Spanish guy. He had his own version. Mencia. It ain't that bad, It ain't that unforgettable.
Yeah, I think people were more. I feel like the format of it is what turned a lot of people off. It just felt Chappelle Show like. But then I also feel like that show caught steam online. Like,
yeah, it definitely did.
A lot of people didn't watch it traditionally.
But Chappelle didn't do anything brand new. It's in living color. It's sketch comedy.
Yeah, but Key and Peele's format was like a direct rip off of.
Yeah.
Well,
It was like the Marshall's version.
I would say what they did that was brilliant is they took like the premise of a sketch and they actually did like the mise en scène. They did like
I was just gonna
the
say.
acting, the directing, the camera shooting, like the film, the sets or whatever. They made that genre work, so it actually looked like it belonged together. Whereas a lot of Chappelle Show sketches like look the same because I guess they're working with less technology or whatnot.
Yeah.
Chappelle, when you watch old Chappelle episodes, it was a shoestring budget, man. They were definitely winging it. It was funny, but they were winging
which is
it.
why he made so much money.
Yeah.
and technology caught up, obviously.
Yeah.
But you're right about that. I mean, to me, that's what's impressive about that show is that these guys know cinema so well that they're able to emulate an entire genre just for a joke.
Yeah, I think
that's so cool.
In an interview, he was asked like, "How was he so good at Get Out?" He was like, "Me and Key, we basically made like 300 short films."
Yeah,
right.
That's true. I will. You're right about that. I didn't dislike Key and Peele. I just think that like the potential we really saw the potential post Key and Peele, in my opinion. So anyway, we touched on Bandersnatch. Do we really want to get into it?
Nope. Let us know if you want a Bandersnatch episode, though. I feel like there's no way that we can't spoil it for you. And so since it just came out like 2 days ago, we're going to give people a chance to enjoy it.
Yeah. Let's just jump into Bird Box, man. Let's jump into fucking the Bird Box. This was an amazing treat for me personally. It came out I think December 21st. You typical everything. You're scrolling through Netflix, and they suggested things to watch with the top, depending on how your Netflix is formatted,
Nice,
right?
I like that too.
Yeah, they suggest what to watch at the top, and then and I saw this, and I'm already like a Sandra Bullock fan, right? So I was like, man, this is looking all right. My wife doesn't really like horror, and then I remember somebody in the group had saw it already. Was it you, Kory? And then you were talking about it.
Yes, I acquired it.
Yeah,
I acquired it. So.
You're so whack, dog. It's on Netflix, man.
Hey, you can put it out in front of me. I took it.
Right.
Took an opportunity.
So once I jumped into the opportunity to watch it, I was I was eager about jumping into it, and I was like thoroughly surprised. But do we want to do the synopsis real quick and the breakdown of what it is before we get into this?
You're gonna have to edit the space out.
No, we don't. We can talk about how I found it because it was not like how you found it.
Okay, how'd you find
I
it?
actually saw it on social media because I follow Trevante Rhodes post Moonlight and literally everything he does because I like looking at him. So he had a trailer. But I was like, oh shit, he's in a movie with Sandra Bullock. And then I was like, it's on Netflix. Okay.
Right.
So I was like happy for him that he was in like, he had a leading role in something that was like really mainstream.
Yeah.
I discovered it a similar way. I follow a lot of bird accounts on Instagram, and it's just all over my feed.
Really? No, you mean I'm like, oh, say more. That's funny.
Synopsis. 5 years after an ominous, unseen presence drives most of society to suicide, a mother and her 2 children make a desperate bid to reach safety. Reach safety.
To reef safety.
Reach safety.
Reef safety.
I saw it the traditional way. A month before it came on Netflix, they dropped a trailer, and I watched it. And I was like, cool, that sounds really awesome. Okay.
See, but they didn't prep me with the trailer. Like
I
they
never saw a
usually I
trailer.
get trailers on Netflix like a couple days before something comes out.
I never saw the trailer.
It dropped like maybe 3 weeks before it came out. Maybe a month.
Interesting.
It was on IMDb. It was on Netflix, everything.
Right.
And I was like, oh, okay, that looks cool.
Is this was considered? This is Sandra Bullock's first venture into like Netflix original material.
As far as I know.
I believe so, yes.
See the way it like it didn't. I don't know if Netflix has just gotten good at this, whereas like they don't make a big deal out of things. So it's like when you see it, you're like, is this the? Because you would feel like if it was
Did
a
they
Sandra.
acquire this though, or did they?
That's a great question.
Or did they produce it?
That's actually a very good question, and I'm not sure about that. I know like Roma they acquired. I figured that. So I'm going to say that I feel like it was a Netflix budget because Trevante's in it.
Okay.
And I think there's a relationship there from, he was in, what was the one that we watched earlier?
Burning Sands.
Burning Sands.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's another Netflix movie that Trevante was in.
Please tell me because I don't know what it is and I like looking at him.
Yeah, well, I if I don't know it, IMDb's, is
he was
one
in The
click
Predator.
away.
That's the only other movie I know he was in.
Yeah, but that won't. And in Moonlight, but yeah.
Did I talk about that on the last podcast?
Nah,
That was like one of
but
the worst movies I've ever seen.
I've heard that it sucked.
Yeah.
This was a Netflix production.
Oh, okay.
It was a Netflix.
Yeah, they got Universal got the rights to the book and then sold them to Netflix in 2017.
So
It's probably because they knew about the other movie that was coming out that would be similar, and they were like, not going to shoot ourselves in the foot.
Yeah.
what other movie?
A Quiet Place.
Quiet Place, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
There's more to talk about on that. Too,
Yes,
later.
there definitely fucking is. We're going to get there.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna get there. So my thing is that they didn't make a big deal out of this being a Sandra Bullock thing, and so that just made me feel like, oh, has she done this before? But I guess
Maybe they
not.
learned something from Bright, and that like people were, when they hyped up that they had a Will Smith movie, like people just kind of hated on it before they saw it.
Yeah,
Well, no,
it
that
could
movie
be.
sucked.
Bright didn't
It did
suck.
not suck.
Bright sucked.
Okay.
Bright.
I
Bright
didn't
is-
make it more than 45 minutes in. It was pretty rough, man.
Oh
Bright is
wow,
bad. It's not a good movie.
that's a whole new episode.
It'll be back. We'll have a chance.
So I mean, let's jump right into the comparisons. We've heard A Quiet Place. This is definitely like The Happening 2.0.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Shout
With
outs
the
to-
Happening 2.0, it's literally just the happening.
Yeah.
Shout outs to M. Night. I bet you M. Night's mad. Like, yo,
I would be.
y'all,
And especially because everybody's like
y'all-
loving on it.
Yeah, everyone's like, y'all jock my shit. And now everyone loves it.
But hey, listen, listen, first of all, fuck M. Night still, right?
I'm
We're
gonna
still
go
there.
see Glass
Well, really,
though.
the writer of Bird Box jocked.
So the
I
book-
should Google that and see
So
who
yeah,
came
when did the
first.
book come out? What came first, The Happening or the book?
I'm pretty sure the book came first, I would imagine.
I mean,
but
well,
I
M.
could
Night might
wrong.
not be able to say shit then.
Yeah, but I did read a really good. I shared that in the group chat. I read a really good article about M. Night, and I didn't realize he was so self-aware of how shitty he was, or
How people receive
how
him.
people receive
How
him.
could he not?
Because there's some people that are really arrogantly above that. Like, so, to see that it does affect him and that he has like a little bit of, it was a really good article and I forget where it was written on, but it seems like he has like imposter syndrome a little bit. Where he just feels like, like I can't really live up to the expectation and there's a lot of anxiety there. But he produces films like right in the backyard of Philadelphia and he's able to still be the article was talking about how he's still able to be a family man and to be a film producer all in the same day, and how
And to put on for his city.
and to put on for his city. So I gained a lot of respect, but
He's had a tough career. I mean, of meteor level highs and then horrible lows, and then now he's kind of making his way back. I'm glad to see him succeed, but yeah, I think the pressure got to him, man. I mean, The Sixth Sense was such a monumental success, and he kept that up for a number of years. I think you can't help but have an identity crisis at that point.
so I look at it differently. I don't look at it like the pressure got to him. I feel like the pressure gassed him up. To me, I look at his entire arc, and this is the arc of somebody who like is really an asshole because of the success that they've achieved, and now they're being humbled because cinema has, because their art form is changing so much, and they're being scooted out, and then they have a chance to redeem themselves. And how he handles this is like a humbling. That's how I look at it. Like he was probably an asshole, and he got all of this backlash
It's not
and bullshit.
fair. You don't know him.
I don't know.
There's a good read too about the production of Lady in the Water. About that led to like it touches on that.
Him being what, an asshole?
Like that he was kind of an ass. He was high on his own shit, and everybody,
he was smelling himself.
Yeah, everybody told him Lady in the Water is garbage.
Yeah.
Don't do it, and he did it, and it was like, yeah.
I
yo.
think anybody who's seen Avatar: The Last Airbender would conclude he's an asshole. Like,
You see what I'm saying? Like, to me, just without even knowing, just looking at the arc of his timeline, this is what an arc of an asshole falling looks like. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not going to parallel it to music, but and get too far off. But yeah, that's the reason why I came down so hard on M. Night, because I was like, this guy's probably a fucking dick.
All right, well, here's a little bit of redemption for him. Bird Box, a novel released in 2014.
Oh,
long
so
after that.
it's definitely a bite.
That was, so at least The Happening is an original concept.
The Wikipedia further said that the author states the rough draft was written in 2009 before The Happening, but it didn't get released until what you just said.
Well, that's something you say.
Yeah,
But it's
To
also
not look like
it's also Wikipedia, so
Right.
someone could have like the author could have jumped in.
Oh, I just put that in there right now.
All right.
before y'all call me the copycat.
Right. Other comparisons, I've heard it being compared to The Road.
I
Is that
haven't
the
seen.
Viggo Mortensen joint?
Yeah.
I
haven't seen that, but I've heard that too.
I get it but just because characters go somewhere doesn't mean it needs to be compared. Like
It's
The
like
Road, to me, I would not compare this to The Road at all.
I guess the part when they're in the boat's like an epic journey.
Yeah, but The Road is like the entire movie is the journey. You know, whereas this is just the third act.
But I guess
It's
if
like,
you mashed up the three movies, I haven't seen The Road, but just like
Road's
based on,
pretty good. Road's pretty
I've
good.
heard, but like based on what I've seen in like synopses and what other people are saying, like it's kind of like a mashup of those three
The Road
movies.
is a good example of how to do where we're not going to tell you a lot and let you kind of come up with your own conclusions. That's
your own scary monster.
that's a good example of how to do that. Whereas I
and
don't
have it work.
Yeah, whereas I don't think Bird Box really is succeeded in that. But
Are we in spoilers yet? We talking spoilers?
Oh, that's
don't
at the
care.
beginning of the
Okay.
episode.
All right,
yeah.
that's right. It's in the bumper.
The bumper.
Not
Look at
to,
him.
not to take it back, but The Happening, I think that's the most egregious ripoff in this movie, because not only is it the concept, it's like a lot of the kills are exactly
yeah,
the
and
same.
then your villain, it kills you the exact same way.
Yeah.
You can't
Even-
see it, and it makes you kill yourself. Like
Even the visual language of danger is coming in both films is like up shots at trees with wind blowing.
Yeah.
and the trees are swaying. I mean, and it's so unoriginal. I mean, that was really offensive to me, and I don't like The Happening, for the record.
Right.
I don't hate
At least the
in this
happening
movie.
lets you know what the fuck it is, though.
That's an argument for that.
Yeah, but to me, that's where The Happening lost me personally. I'm not like The Happening. I didn't hate The Happening, but I just wasn't in love with it. You know.
I feel the same way. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it either.
Yeah, but I didn't hate it, but I feel like the explanation of what was actually happening in The Happening is what makes me not like The Happening.
Right.
It's like Mother Earth decided
it's funny you say that
to
'cause-
kill the parasites.
It's like even in The Happening, homie drove the car into the thing. It's like you still had someone do that in Bird Box. Like it's like okay, like you really ripped off The Happening. I would have liked to see some uniqueness in that.
Right.
You know?
I agree.
So just so we know everybody's position going around, it sounds like Chandler, you didn't really like this movie.
I am very negative on Bird Box.
Leezy.
I'm lukewarm on it. Like I I found it entertaining, but it was very unoriginal. And I'm just like, oh, I've seen this before, which is what I think people who maybe don't watch as many movies as we do, I think they were super impressed because they hadn't seen it before. But I'm just like, meh, meh.
Right. Okay. Martin.
Yeah, I'm pretty negative. I think it's derivative, like you said, from like a plot perspective, but also just from like the genre of post-apocalyptic movies. It's like I've seen all this before.
Kory.
I'm a Leezy, the exact same. It's very forgettable film for me. Like I watched it, I didn't hate it, and I'll never watch it again.
Wow.
But I agree with everything. Both like I've seen it. I've seen everything in this movie.
Yeah.
Down to even the deaths. Like they're like classic horror deaths where you get to know some characters you don't, and then they're gone. Like it's
Interesting.
And you pick them off one by one. It even had the classic horror movie trope where like the young people have sex. Like it's like really the two young people are having sex and they don't. Well, they're not shown to be killed, but I mean,
We can only imagine.
You can only imagine.
Yeah.
So.
Um.
Shout out to Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah, Machine Gun Kelly had the best role in the film. Came in, fucked, conquered, and left.
Yeah.
And the funny part is, every one of y'all's arguments makes sense, but I still really like this movie.
Really?
I really liked it, man. But I was saying this off mic before everybody came in to Martin, I believe. My wife and I watched a shitty ass Netflix film called How It Ends
Oh, I saw that.
the night before. So I think it was
that
just
movie
like,
sucks.
that movie was pure fucking.
That's how you do we're not going to tell you shit bad.
Oh my!
That's how you do that bad. Like,
That film was bad, like not even worth discussing bad. But the next night we watched this, so I don't know. It's like I'm really trying to separate myself from like having watching a really bad post-apocalyptic film to like one that actually made some sense. And is that the only reason why I'm attached to it?
Well, see, I watched a post-apocalyptic film after that. I watched the one with Evan Rachel Wood and Ellen Page. I think it's called like Into the Forest or something like that.
That must have been good.
It was way because it was grounded in reality.
Right.
So we'll talk. I think that's how America actually does end, exactly how it does in that movie.
Interesting. I had to go back
Ellen
and watch
Page did a post-apocalyptic zombie movie I want to see where they find a cure for being a zombie. And it's like about how people get reacclimated to society after you were like a zombie and you ate like my brother.
Oh, I definitely want to see that.
Yeah,
sounds
it was real low key.
That's not Warm Bodies, is it?
No.
No. Warm Bodies is.
But I keep telling myself to go check that out.
Interesting. I like Ellen Page too. So all right, so you hit on it, Kory. Let's talk about the characters, man. Let's talk about the characters of this film. Where, like, and to me, that was part of what I did. What was kind of a redeeming, what drew me into it, right? Like you got the, Sandra Bullock's character, who's this artist that just seemingly very like unempathetic to the fact that she's pregnant. Like she's just disconnected. I don't know.
Out here
She's
living
selfish.
her best life.
That's
Like
it.
she hasn't really had to. I can just tell she hasn't really had to work very hard in life, and she hasn't had to care about anything. I think that's the point. Like
Right.
that she's had the privilege of not having to fight really hard to survive.
Yeah, agreed. What characters did y'all like in this?
I actually like John Malkovich's character.
Yeah, until he wanted to leave everybody, and stay at the supermarket. He made a lot of sense to me until that.
He made a
point.
lot of sense. It's a big building filled with food.
Well, here's
Stay in
the
the fucking
thing,
market.
and you don't know none of those motherfuckers back at the house, so why does
Yeah.
it matter? But and the thing is, again, I thank you for blessing me with this thing that rattles around in my head every time I'm watching a movie. Dialogue is intentional, and when he was like, "I'm always right," they probably would have been better off staying at the supermarket because they could black the windows out. People couldn't come in. Gary couldn't have come there. He wouldn't have known they were there. Like, they'd have been fine.
Right, that's true.
Well, I actually don't think so. I think just in a lot of like post-apocalyptic like literature and stuff or media or whatnot, like a supermarket is a bad place to stay because
everybody wants
it's
it.
always a target. Like people are always going to go there for food. You don't know them. They're strangers. They can hurt you. It's like that always plays out that way.
Yeah, The Mist.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Shout out to The Mist.
Fuck The Mist.
You and me have been going back and forth about The Mist for like
Fuck The
10 plus years.
Mist. There was a Twilight Zone episode that I think inspired the ending of The Mist. but fuck The Mist. Yeah.
Nothing about The Mist made me go, I want to watch that. I'm like, oh, it's The Mist. It's the Blob. It's the fog. Like, why do I need to watch this?
Oh, it's cool. I like it. I like The Mist.
Yeah,
Is the creature feature where the air is the bad guy?
No, there's creatures
there's
in
creatures
the air.
in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
okay.
creatures in it.
So it's this movie.
No, you can see.
Nah,
them.
you can see the creatures.
They're like
Yeah.
creatures. Like you'd go outside and there's like a little
like
monster.
alien
running around.
hopping around
Yeah.
thingies. Yeah, it ain't worth watching, bro. How about you, Chandler? What did you character wise?
You know, if I had to pick, I'd probably say Trevante Rhodes' character. But I mean, I thought that was one of the weaker parts of the film. I don't feel like the characters gelled. Like, to me, John Malkovich's character seems like he's from a whole different movie. I mean, he is playing the comedy and the broad emotions up to a 10, whereas I feel like Sandra Bullock's trying to keep it pretty grounded. Like, it tonally doesn't match to me, which is an indication of bad direction.
Well, I'm not saying that he had the best performance. What I'm saying is I liked that character, which is completely different than choices he made as an actor.
Right. But let's stay there for a second. The tonal, like how it didn't match. Like what made you feel that way?
So I don't think this is a well-directed movie at all. I think the cinematography is very like network television. I'm not saying cable TV. I'm saying network television.
Wow.
I think this director, she likes to point and shoot. Dialogue scenes are like shot, reverse shot. The lighting was not anything special to me. I thought this was one of the most blandly lit post-apocalyptic films I've ever seen.
Wow.
I'm with you from a production value. Even the scene where she crashes the car,
Yeah.
it's very you can tell that it's like a back lot somewhere. Like it's very like people are just randomly running and there's like these blah houses in the background. Like that was a street in LA somewhere on a back lot.
They do
the
that.
house is fake.
They do that move that I hate where it's like, okay, you have a big car crash, right? This costs like $15,000. Let's show off this stunt. So we're in this very personal action sequence where we're in the car the whole time. But as soon as the car flips, we go, bam, wide front angle. And then mid-air flip, we go reverse, rear angle. Because you got to show every angle of that stunt, baby. That was expensive.
That's funny. But do you think that's a reflection of maybe just budget?
No, because
It's a choice from the director, yeah.
Right, it's a choice. I mean, there's movies like It Comes at Night, which have almost no budget and are able to convey the emotions they need for the story much better.
So you like That Comes at Night?
I love it.
I did not like It Comes at Night.
Thank you, Chandler.
I did see it. I finally saw it.
It was
Did you like it?
Like I just didn't love it.
I liked it, but it had like an obvious plot hole that I just was like, okay, what the fuck?
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll save that for another.
I didn't get it.
Oh, thank you, Chandler.
We don't. I mean, like, I'm not. I liked it.
Right.
I thought like it was pretty good. It's just I don't like when things happen. It's not quite as bad as like me saying like Widows and like, okay, these are really, really stupid things.
Yeah.
I didn't think that they were really, really stupid things. I just thought like, oh, there's an obvious plot hole here.
Gotcha.
If I can say one more thing about the direction.
Sure. Say as much as you want.
At the end of the movie, that final like action piece where she's running with the kids through the forest, there's a part where it's we're supposed to be really feeling tense and scared for these characters, and the way that she communicates that is loud music. It's just loud music with drums, and the filmmaking style doesn't change. She's still shooting off of tripods. There's nothing handheld. The angles are just wide to show that the geometry or the geography of what they're doing. It's not anything that's character based to pull you into their mindset. To me, that's just very amateur. It's a television style of directing.
Oh, okay. So what's does anything in her filmography before this stand out? I think Suzanne
I've never
Bier.
seen any other films from her.
So I know when I looked at it, I think she did the original Brothers
That's right.
they remade
With Toby and Gyllenhaal.
with whack ass Toby Maguire and Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah,
I actually liked Brothers.
yeah. I
like that
actually like that, but that wasn't her version. When I looked at her filmography, I don't think there was anything that she had done that I'd seen before.
I think she won a Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film a while back,
Okay,
but I haven't seen it.
Oh, she.
so is she German?
No, sorry, she did The Night Manager, which I liked.
Was that with Tom Hiddleston?
Yeah. Yeah,
never
she,
saw
she
that.
directed it. I'm trying to look at her things we lost in the fire.
I
Oh,
couldn't
yeah,
get through the
with
first
Halle
20
Berry?
minutes of that shit.
I didn't see it. I
wow.
just
It was so slow.
That was Halle Berry and Benicio.
Benicio.
Yeah.
And Serena. That was a interesting film.
I think that's on Netflix, but
That has an interesting backstory. It was like a movie that was gonna go in the theaters and then it didn't, and everybody was pissed, or something like that.
It's just interesting that I get exactly what you're saying in terms of like bad direction, but it's just interesting that you call it all that. Because
Everyone's got the eye, man. That's why he's sitting there.
Yeah, none of that affected me. None of that affected my film. I'm gonna tell you, I thought the dialogue writing in this, I thought was supreme.
Whoa.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah, I
supreme.
admit, I didn't agree with you when you said that. I was like, this is a basic ass horror movie. Like, what
The
part of
So it's the conversations, man. Like when you watch Tarantino, right? And I'm not.
Taylor was fell out of his chair.
Taylor has laid all the way down the floor at this point.
He did the Red Fox. Oh, this is gonna be the big one. He did that. He did that whole movement.
His face is completely red.
So here's the thing: there's no comparison to whoever the screenwriter was in this to Tarantino. Let's just preface it with that. Like, I'm not.
I'll agree with you on that one.
Yeah, I'll agree with me on that one. But it's the simplicity of the dialogue, like the responses and the things that people say are what people would actually say.
I think so too. I'm not going to say it's supreme. However, because Bandersnatch had really intentional dialogue too that didn't suck. So I think it can be done, and I think it can be done. Like it's done relatively well a lot.
Right.
But I will say that there's intentional dialogue there that has this subtlety of. It comes across as subtly as a regular conversation
Yes.
would.
That's
Which
an art.
there is an art to that, and to be fair, there are people who suck at it. Sorry, Spike Lee, but
Yeah,
but
Oh, don't say that. You can't criticize Spike Lee.
Yes, you can.
On the Movie Critics podcast, you can't criticize him.
I'm not
You
lying.
No, the contrary is I think a lot of people do not do that well.
I think that it's done commonly enough that I don't have to like come smack a gold star on your forehead every time you do it. But I agree that it was impressive.
Yeah.
I don't think it was supreme, but it was impressive.
They should have killed a kid. That's what they should have done in the movie.
Can I counter your
It's not
dialogue
real
thing?
till you murder
Yeah.
children.
Your
Till you murder a
first
child.
your first scene with her and the kids, she refers to them as boy and girl. And so you're like, oh wow, this is really, they must be in dire straits. She's really distant. These kids don't have names. What is it? I'm so interested in this movie, right?
Right.
Let's fast forward like 90 minutes. There's a scene where Trevante Rhodes is like, Mallory, you don't even name your kids. You call them boy and girl.
Right.
And it's like, oh no, I remember because I watched the movie. I saw that earlier. You didn't have to say it again. Like, I didn't forget.
But this is the
Right,
thing, though.
right.
He couldn't just. Why could he not name the kids? Why could he have like that? That was stupid. I have
Yeah,
to
I'd
give
be
you
like,
that.
look, I'm naming these fucking kids. Like, I am not gonna call this kid boy for 5 years.
So two things.
At that point, the name is boy.
It's like they didn't have a conversation about it until that part of the movie.
He's just
they
like,
never talked about it.
I'm just gonna let her do whatever she wants to do, even though I'm keeping all of us alive.
Yeah, he's like, look,
she can make that decision.
Something's really been eating at me, Mallory.
Especially because like one of the kids not even hers. Like, he's like, well, I'm gonna name Olympia's kid. Fuck you. Like,
Yeah. Damn, now that you bring it like that, you're kind of
I
right.
says,
But so to answer that specific question, I think there's a difference between the way it's written for screen and the way it's edited for screen. I don't think it's written to where we see that opening scene before we see the progression of the film. I think that's an editing choice.
it's not in the chronology's not there.
Yeah, the chronology is not there, and that's what I really, really wonder about. I've never read an original Quentin Tarantino script, but like it seems like he writes that way. Whereas, like, and I'm sure you can make a case for both, but in that particular case, I think it's edited to.
Well, is the book in that order? Like, is the book Jump Through Time?
I don't know. I'm just making
Wikipedia
like vague
said
assumptions.
yes, that it takes place in 3 different time periods.
But not necessarily that they're intersecting in the way.
Don't know because I haven't read a book since grade school.
Damn, you need to tighten up, bro.
When's the last time you read a fiction book?
I don't read fiction books.
That's what I meant. I haven't read a fiction book.
Oh,
I
you
said
just
that I
said
didn't
book.
read fiction, and then my best friend wrote a book that I have been reading every time I get on a plane, which here recently is not that often. I should be finished with it, but I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not big on fiction, but
And I bought Ghost
read
at a
books.
Watchmen, but I don't read fiction either. I'm with you.
Yeah. So you make a good case for the dialogue. I mean, for the writing in general.
That's really the only place that I saw it, though. To be fair,
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a lot of problems with plotting in this movie too, like just structural stuff. But I don't know if we're there yet.
No, fuck it. We here now. Let's
There's
go.
a scene in this movie
Mhm.
where a woman goes into labor, immediately followed by the only other pregnant woman in the movie also going into labor at the same time.
Double labor.
Yeah, so it's like Father of the Bride, that Steve Martin movie.
yeah.
So that's happening. So this is like a slapstick comedy sequence in the middle of a post-apocalyptic horror. And then on top of that,
They just
then
need
we
him to
have
slide across the hall.
the murderer man starts killing everybody while both births are happening.
Right.
And that to me is like, that is first draft convenient plotting that never got drafted again. Like, because that doesn't feel like anything grounded in reality. The circumstances are so crazy. I mean, what are the chances that would really happen? And then also,
What are the chances that Olympia would let Gary in the fucking house?
I mean, but she's kind of,
she's naive.
yeah.
There's always a naive character.
Yeah,
So,
but all of the. I'm sure when they got back from Lil Rel sacrificing himself for all them damn white people, I'm sure that when they got back from Lil Rel sacrificing himself, they all realized that there were people who could see, and so like you understand what I'm saying, like to say that they wouldn't be, and that they would try. They're coming after us, right? Because that's what was happening. So why? I'm sure they shared that story. Why would she just be like, "Well,
I don't think
I'm gonna open the
I don't think they
door."
realized what was happening with the character, because they set it up that like, oh, that guy was kind of off.
Yeah.
And then they didn't see him die. So like they had I think in their interpretation, they had a scuffle, and maybe they saw the demons. We'll call them demons, and that's what happened. I don't think I didn't interpret that from the scene where he died.
I'm with Kory. I don't think there was a discussion that happened because I don't think they realized what happened.
Well, they had to say what happened to Lil Rel.
It sounded like
He's dead.
Yeah, they had a fight. He went outside and he opened his eyes. Probably.
I mean,
Yeah.
So
I'm with John Malkovich. Get the fuck out.
I'm there too.
well, the other thing too, it jocked a Quiet Place, a birth, and like
Yes.
we're gonna birth a baby during a very trying time.
So, and this is the
Well,
thing.
does stress induce labor by any
It can.
chance?
It can.
Yeah.
However, this is the thing that A Quiet Place did well that this did not.
Mm-hmm.
A Quiet Place invented a reason why those things would happen simultaneously,
Mm-hmm.
right? And at no point in A Quiet Place are the characters stupid.
that's right.
They don't have to be stupid to move the story forward.
Right.
That's what we loved so much about it, right? Was that they made really smart choices, and they just proved that like things can still go wrong even when you're really smart. But like A Quiet Place did not have to make them dumb to make the story work.
Well,
That little kid was pretty stupid.
yeah, the kid was fucking dumb. The first kid, right?
Yeah.
The one that can
Yeah,
hear,
the fucking idiot.
Yeah, he got what was coming to him though.
he didn't live through his stupidity. But I think that just also solidified like we can't be stupid out here.
Well, also what A Quiet Place did is it contain. We're watching the containment of a family. Like there wasn't a lot of outside influence, so there wasn't the opportunity for a lot of dumbass shit to happen from an outside source. We watched the survival of a family as opposed to like all of these different personalities coming together for survival. You know what I mean? And-
Well, when dumbass shit happened, like the old dude who his wife died, and he starts yelling in the middle of the forest, they knew how to react to that situation like instantly.
yeah, but then they also knew like, see, A Quiet Place showed you the monster also. So they knew what the threat
What they were up
actually
against.
was. You know what I'm saying? And,
I mean, they didn't
it took them
know
a while
where-
to show it to the audience, though.
Well,
They kept it hidden for a good portion.
no,
of the
that
film.
happened with the kid at
Yeah,
the
the kid
beginning.
in the
in
beginning.
You
the-
can't, but you don't see it. It moves so fast.
Yeah,
you can't
don't
see
get
it.
a good glimpse.
but
for
you
a
know
while.
it's something tangible.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know
I
it's
get
something
you,
that
yeah.
swoops in and fucking takes you.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't know it was like a nigga with big ears, but yeah.
What
but,
she said.
But that's kind of my point. It's kind of like when you can see the threat. And you like they literally took away your ability to see the threat in this. So you have to use other senses to really hone in to figure out how to attack this thing that you can't see.
I would be more impressed with that if the movie ever puts you in a place where you feel that same stress. Like they do the occasional cutaway to like a camera with a blindfold over it. But that's few and far between. You see everything for most of the movie. I never felt the emotional state of somebody who can't use their eyes to survive.
I'm with you,
The
'cause
filmmaking
I was
style
gonna,
never.
I was gonna
really-
piggyback because in A Quiet Place, who saw it in the theater? Everybody seen it
I
in the
did.
theater?
Yeah.
didn't.
You remember how quiet it got?
Yes.
And how I remember people were didn't want to move,
Right.
because it became part of a little bit of the experience of
Right.
I remember I saw it with Dex and he had popcorn. He was like, because it was, and it became this thing, you become a part of it a little bit, And I agree with you, you don't feel that, but I mean, that's not maybe Bird Box's fault.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think
maybe
it's
Yeah,
the
that's
director's
the-
fault. 100%.
yeah.
Well, I don't see. Okay, so let's jump into this. I don't think that's the point of the film. I don't think the point of the film is to be into these characters' places. I think the point of the film, there's a story. There's the through line to me is her relationship with love, right? And they're just using all of this to build over top of that to give us this science experiment of how a person, a person's journey of connecting to things and other people, and just somehow all this other shit is collateral damage, right? So to me, that wasn't the point of the film,
But don't you think there's an argument for making a visceral experience that draws your viewer more into the story?
Well, I think that's genius, but I also think what you guys just said about A Quiet Place, right? You had a theatrical experience.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit more psychological involvement with a theatrical experience as opposed to a home
true.
experience. So, that kind of goes into this essentially was a TV movie. You know what I'm saying? This is a TV movie, like you said, a network production. This is a Lifetime movie, man. Lifetime sci-fi fucking mashup of a film. So I just don't think the intent was that to make us feel, the struggle of survival in a dystopian whatever the fuck is happening. I think it was just a story that was built, and all these elements were built outside
You
of that.
don't have to do that. You're right. A Quiet Place chose to do that,
Yes.
and
Well,
I
that
think
was the draw of it.
Yeah, it chose to give you a unique experience. I mean, the first 20 minutes of the movie is completely quiet.
It's quiet.
Yeah. So I mean, it doesn't have to, but I get what you're saying.
I think that's a staple of horror cinema, though. I mean, I think that's what you watch the movies for. And I mean, I think this does scary stuff on paper in such an uninteresting way on camera. And
Yeah.
that's basically the whole argument I'm making for the direction being poor.
That makes a lot of sense, though. I see the disconnect of what experience you wanted out of it and what experience
when
you
you
got.
have movies like A Quiet Place and It Follows.
I love that.
I think
You could argue that is also thrown in there too.
Yeah.
I think we're at a point we just want better films. So when you have these examples of how to do this better, and then you get another mediocre thing, and it's because my biggest gripe with horror is there's a lot of movies with great premises and shitty execution.
Sure.
There's tons of movies with great premises, but it's they fall apart, and it's okay. It's even remember The Strangers?
Yes.
I love the premise of The Strangers. Then there's a point in the movie where it's yep, fuck this. We're going full horror movie. We're going full 90s horror. And then the movie falls apart. And it's they don't want to own that we're going to try to be unique.
Right.
And there's this point where the director just says, fuck it. And I don't understand why that keeps happening. Whereas you have A Quiet Place, you have It Follows, you go back in time to Blair Witch, where it's you're look, no, I'm going to own the concept I'm trying to deliver.
Right.
So
I actually don't think they meant it to be a TV movie. It had a theatrical run in December, so I think they kind of meant maybe Sandra to be up for an Oscar for it.
Well, I think they only made a theatrical run in order for it to be considered in
for
Oscars.
Oscar.
But I don't think that was the intention of this.
I mean, I think if you're why would they do a theatrical run if they didn't think it had the possibility to get an Oscar?
Because they had to check the boxes to meet the qualification to be considered for an Oscar.
a lot of things are doing that now.
Yeah, it's like if you make an album and it's you only want to make 4 songs. It's well, the Academy, the Grammys are only going to acknowledge if you make 7. It's all right, fine, let me find 3 more. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just you're trying to check the boxes to be included in a conversation as opposed to this is your intention. That at least that's my thing. You know, like now if we're like, you know, if the Matrix was, you know what I'm saying?
I mean,
It's
I
like
don't, I don't think Sandra would take it if she didn't think there was a possibility that she could get some type of reward or some type of acknowledgement for the role.
I don't know. That's a good question.
I mean,
because
she's won awards.
She already did her
but-
genre movie this year. That was like Ocean's 8. So it's like I think she kind of wanted something for it, or she thought she was gonna get something out of this than just her Netflix movie.
She might have just liked the story, you know, and maybe the paycheck. You know, that's the thing. Like Netflix never tells us what they really spent on films. They'll tell us what they spent on the assets. You know, we gave Will Smith fucking $60 million for this. You know, they'll tell us that, but they'll never tell us what they spent on the entire film.
Well, it's just there's always all Netflix original films to me. It's like there's always this thing that goes, yeah, I see why this didn't come out in the theater. You like most of them. There's always this moment where I'm like, oh, that's where you cut corners at.
Right.
Oh, that's where you saved a little money because you see it. You see the difference.
Well, so do you think theatrically this movie wouldn't have done that well?
I don't know.
It probably would have done fine.
I think so. Yeah.
With just the social media hype around it, it would have done
Where did
fine.
that come from?
I saw a post that hypothesized, and I'm buying into this conspiracy theory now, that Netflix had pre-made a bunch of Bird Box memes, had their internet team develop memes, and just doled them out once the movie dropped.
Really?
Because I've never
That makes
seen
sense.
social media saturation for any movie the way I've seen it for Bird Box, and never at this speed. And especially not for a Netflix movie.
The speed I'll agree with. I think
just-
Get
it was
Get
very
Out had a
viral.
lot of memes. You know, the Get Out challenge. You know what I'm saying? There was like a whole
But Get Out had months of anticipation before it. And this was like,
Right.
people didn't really know about Bird. I mean, Kory did, but most people didn't know about Bird Box.
Listen, I legitimately knew about this film. It wasn't a secret.
yeah. So my thing is this, like I'm looking at this year. This year to me was a really good year for Netflix and original content, in my opinion. I know
It's a big year, yeah.
Yeah, but to me, just the output was like the best year to me. Yeah,
I mean,
in my
except for
opinion.
the Marvel TV shows. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
man.
Rest in peace.
Well, but they were output this year.
Yeah.
They discontinued after this year.
So you're talking about in terms of just like the volume of content?
The volume of content, but also I think the ratio of volume to what is actually good or decent. Like
It's not much of a shit show like it was last year, I think.
Yeah,
Like, its stuff is better. It's getting better.
so there was a huge gap in time between Beast of No Nation and the next good Netflix original film to me. Whereas like now, you know, this year, and I know we talked about it a little bit, Chandler, and I know we talked about it, Kory. I loved Hold the Dark. I loved Hold the Dark. Yeah, we know you didn't like it, Leezy, but
It's all right.
it was to me.
I'm with you on that.
It was, you know, it was really good to me, you know. And then looking at the time in between Hold the Dark and what was the one you told us about last year? I'm just getting around to watching this year. I don't feel at home.
I
in
don't
this-
feel at home in
That
this
was-
world
that
anymore.
was
good.
Yeah.
Making Blair,
Making
bro.
Blair, baby.
Yeah, man.
Well, to piggyback on that, I think Netflix is really great at. I think it's a good vehicle for the independents and the art films.
Right.
Oh, the independent and the art films, because those are films that don't get a lot of distribution sometimes. They don't get a lot of eyes on them, and they don't get the machine behind them.
Right.
But when I see Bird Box, I see Bright, I see an underfunded movie. That's what I see.
You see Bright and see underfunded?
Yes.
That was a $100 million
I ain't
picture.
rolling.
I thought it was
man.
80, but
Oh, that actually sounds right.
yeah.
But still, that ain't. but go
I
ahead,
get it,
though.
but I still see you have these high concepts, and I get why Hollywood, they're usually 150, 200.
Right.
Like, I see the difference. I look at Bird Box and
You
go,
mean in the production value?
yeah, in the production value. And those things sometimes affect movies, but like in Bird Box, I feel like it really does.
So here's the thing: do you understand that some of that budget is a marketing thing too, right?
Yeah, I do. So, I mean, but a higher budgeted film is going to have more go into the actual production. So,
Usually
yeah.
a listed budget, too, doesn't include the marketing budget.
Oh, they don't.
No, because
Really?
usually for a big Hollywood movie, they spend just as much on marketing as they do on the actual budget, which is why their profit margins are so
Interesting.
low.
I thought the listed budget did include marketing. Okay.
but when I see Hold the Dark, the in the World movie, I see a properly fun. I see a movie that looks and feels in its
the range.
In its range. But when I see Bird Box, I'm like, all right, you guys, you cut some corners here, you did this here, like you're not as experimental, your movie isn't as tight. And that bothers, that affects my experience. When I see a movie and I'm like, the green screen sucks. Like that scene right there looks like, it's kind of shitty. Like it affects it. I can't.
Whitewater kayaked, and there's no way in hell that they didn't die.
Yeah, to me that was the biggest piece of
Whitewater
shit
kayaked on like. You have to know what direction the water's going to not drown.
They should have murdered a child. That's how you step.
I thought that was
kid should.
coming.
Yeah,
I would have killed.
Kid,
I would have killed her kid too.
kid gotta
by the
get.
way.
Loki,
Nice.
I wanted to see what would happen if the baby saw the demon. Like they don't even have a concept of life or death at all. So I'm like, whoa. They were like, hide the baby, don't let him see the demon.
You did a slam dunk. You was like, I want a toddler committing suicide.
But it's like, that'll
actually
be
good.
impossible. It'll totally like break your enjoyment of the film.
So you wanted them to go full Roma.
Full
Hey,
Roma.
I haven't
Oh,
seen
no
it.
spoilers.
Haven't seen it.
Hey man, we're out here
Or
spoiling.
just, but I mean, Quiet Place murdered a kid. You want to step your horror
Quiet Place
game up.
murdered a kid like 2 minutes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we knew that little fucker was gonna die. Like we knew we couldn't trust him. Like immediately.
I don't know. I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
see it coming.
I didn't. I
I
didn't see that.
definitely did. I was like,
Because
oh, this kid's about to fuck this all
murdering
up.
a 7-year-old, that's a decision. That's a very concrete decision that hasn't been done a lot. So when you see it, it's still jarring to today.
Right.
It's not what you think is going to happen. So if movies start murdering kids all for the next couple years, then it'll become a norm. But when I saw A Quiet
Georgie
Place,
died in it. Like anybody could get it.
oh man, yeah, he got his whole arm ripped off and everything.
Yeah,
that sucks.
So I mean, just to go back to what I was saying about Netflix, I just think that they're really starting to master their output. And even talking about Roma, even though it wasn't a Netflix production, it was acquired by Netflix, but still the decision to bring that to its platform and like the care that they're giving to it, like this, I think Netflix is starting. I think is to master their business model.
They did the same thing with Orson Welles, like that Orson Welles movie that was unfinished that they finished.
Yeah.
And then they also made like a making of it and a backstory. But what I find works for them, even though I do know that Bird Box had some external marketing because I think she was on like a morning show and stuff like that. And then obviously I saw it from Trevante's social media, which costs like nothing.
Yeah.
Like he's just playing like a truncated version. And I feel like they make these 1-minute trailers for social media now so that it can fit within the
for
format.
sure. Yeah.
But like most Netflix movies that I watch, it's the marketing's from their platform. I go, oh, that looks interesting. They don't have to have like
they
a
don't have
huge
to go
budget.
external. Yeah, I mean, they did do something similar with Hold the Dark. I think they did like a Good Morning Show or something like that. Like they do a little bit of external, but I think it's very contained. They market a lot on IMDb. Like they go straight to where they know people who love movies are going to be.
And I do. I will sit, if I'm bored, I will sit and watch trailers on IMDb. I do it.
But I don't think this movie's success comes from cinephiles. I think it's coming from
I agree.
average viewers. And I think if this conspiracy theory about them making the memes is true, it's a genius way to get free marketing.
Very genius. Yeah, very. So, but even with that, right? Like even in doing that, making memes, there has to be a guaranteed rollout. You have to know where to place it in order to get traction. And I think there's
Facebook is
a
where I
science.
saw it the most. Like,
I saw a lot of on Facebook.
Yeah.
Also, too, it helped we talked about this. Horror movies, classically, people tend to watch without a lot of convincing. I think people like horror movies. That's why a lot of them are made, and they're made really cheap.
they're a cash cow.
Yeah, they a lot of horror movies make their budget back generally instantly, and people don't really care if they suck or not. I mean, people like us do, but
The general viewership does not.
I'll still watch a shitty horror movie. I
yeah.
will.
So I think that Sandra Bullock and it being in the holidays, you know, that last week is the week a lot of people are home doing a whole lot of nothing.
Sandra Bullock in the holidays to me weigh just as much as the memes, in my opinion, because it's like, oh, what is this Sandra Bullock fucking? You know, you put out a meme like Sandra Bullock in a fucking. What is this they're talking
Because
about?
nobody
And some
cared about the
blindfolds.
Brad Pitt Netflix original.
Right.
That's true.
Nobody gave a shit about that movie.
That's very
So-
true. And I think her base, you know, when I think about what her base probably is, her base probably is the people that would be more excited about the holidays and more into like, let's, so it was to me, this is the epitome of like a great rollout and them knowing their business model, probably learning from Bright, probably learning from War Machine, and some of these other big name films that they've tried to do in the past. And then I think they took a cue from, the last movie that they did during the holidays, even Bright. I'm not going to count Bright because that's Will Smith. Like, you can't miss, no matter, you put a Will Smith movie. I mean, he's winning on social media right now, so that just shows you like how small the format can be. But Making a Murderer to me was like the last one that came out during the holidays that really took form. And I feel like it was because of a holiday rollout, where you heard
The
it
original
everywhere.
came out during the holidays?
Yeah, it came out 2016, like around December, around my birthday, like December 14th type shit. It's a shameless plug for my birthday, just in case it's past.
You can send gifts to 113 now.
Yeah, or my cash tag, for Cash App, you can send gifts there too. All right, so jumping off that, I read a really interesting article from Michael Harriot of The
You read a
Root.
funny ass article.
It was very funny, man.
But you know what though? I feel like that article is The Root making fun of itself. So like,
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
yeah, me too. And I don't know if you guys read it, but
I didn't get a chance to read it, but I saw a bunch of people posting it, which I thought was funny.
right. And he was just talking about how the movie was a metaphor for like racism. Like white people not wanting to see their own
When he was
racism.
like the black man who's the hero's name is Tom. I'm not even lying, y'all. That nigga's name is Tom.
Yeah, the nigga name was Tom. It was funny to me. So I had a great conversation with my man Mario, man. Shout out to Mario, about the Tom character. And I said that
I really appreciate that Tom was black because he didn't have to be.
he didn't have to be. I don't think he was written to be. He was just written to be a man, and they fulfilled it.
But I think that
with
the fact that he is black, like, gives his experience with survival a different meaning.
Oh, I didn't even think about it in that way.
I think it gives his experience with survival a different meaning. I think that his ability to love and nurture and support children means something else. Like, it's important to see black men as capable,
right,
as loving, as safe.
right.
So it gives it a different meaning, and I appreciate the colorblind casting because it usually colorblind casting usually works out better for white people than it does for black people.
I was gonna say though, I've noticed, which it's good, but there's a lot of movies doing interracial nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, it's good because that's what our world looks like.
Right.
But I'm starting to notice it a
a
lot,
lot more. Like,
And
it's almost like pandering, you feel?
I don't know because
See, I feel that way about homosexuality, but not about interracial.
I don't want to say that because you can say it feels. Someone might argue it feels forced.
Right.
Someone might say no, it's how the world looks. But I'm just because it wasn't a norm 10 years ago.
Right.
I'm seeing it more now, and I'm seeing more cases where it's not a thing. Even in the how I can't name the movie where the robbery, the end. How I can't see myself in this world.
Oh, I don't
yeah.
feel at home in this world.
Yeah, I don't feel home. I'm never gonna get that right again. Her sister.
Right.
It was, and it was like this
Hilarious.
Yeah. So and you argue
Yeah,
is that these are intentional things.
Right.
These are things that are done on purpose, or are they?
Well, I think-
and what is the rationale for it?
I think that
know.
it's really meant to normalize it. And the thing is, people in interracial relationships obviously like have the challenges that come with that, right? But it is not their entire life. Their entire life is not that. They still pee, brush their teeth, and eat and shit, and regular stuff happens to them. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So characters who happen to be in an interracial relationship, I think it's important for care to be given to their experience, but it does not need to be the central theme of the movie to feel realistic.
Agreed.
And so I think that's what it is. And honestly, America is really slow on that. I watch a lot of British TV, and it's just,
And that's
it's
it.
not even a topic of conversation.
I remember you
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
that before.
Yeah, like Bodyguard. It's like
I watch
or like chewing gum. when you were talking
Marcella,
about.
Luther,
Yeah,
like
Luther, yeah.
like that's in British television. People are in interracial relationships, and it rarely comes up that that's what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so to me, what I like more about and you made some good points, Leezy. So to me, what I liked about it was just that the character was just a person, and it was fulfilled by a black character. It wasn't there. There was nothing about the character that had to be a certain race, you know. And to me, that's what a lot of these talks about equality and stuff like that and representation. and not just for black men or black people, but I think just for everybody. Just,
Arguably, Indian people need to be on screen the most.
Yeah.
So,
you know, and just because somebody's gay in real life doesn't mean they have to play a gay person on screen. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just representation. Just this person just needs a body of somebody who can actually fulfill the role.
Or
of who
even
this
that, a
character
gay
is.
character on screen, their central theme doesn't have to be that they're gay.
That
Like
they're
if you
gay, right.
watched, this is really bad and it's terrible, but I loved it because it was so bad. But Life Size 2, the protagonist in that story is bisexual. And when she wakes up with Tyra Banks in her bed, she's like, yo, did we get it in last night? Am I your first girl? But the story's not about her being bisexual
Right.
at all. She just happens to be.
Just happened to be.
And that's a kid movie.
Back to the back to the article. Is it trying to be serious? Like is that?
No.
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's
I didn't-
satirical.
It's
Okay.
satirical. But the reason why I brought it up is because
It's not far fetched though. If you're
Yeah.
thinking like a
Well,
hotel.
because I mean, she's obviously, you know, I mean, not wanting to see racism, but yet she's with a black man in the film.
Yeah,
bruh.
yeah.
That's a thing in real life.
I know. Okay, yeah. Okay. I totally get.
So,
I get it. Yeah.
Well, the thing about the article is the root has been criticized by black people for being like overly sensational about race at times. So they're really, if you have that backstory, if you're just reading it, you're like, yo, this is funny. But if you have that backstory, you realize they're making fun of
They're making fun of
themselves.
themselves. Yeah, that's how I took it.
All right.
But it did bring a question that I wanted to bring to the table. Is there any theories or metaphors that you guys pulled out of this for the potential meanings? I saw things like explaining the ending of Bird Box, and I'm like, I didn't know you had to explain the ending, but maybe
I
there's
don't know what needed to be explained about that either.
right. But there's a video that's doing very well on YouTube that's like the ending of Bird Box explained.
Well, what do you think? What's your interpretation on the ending?
So
Or on the themes of the movie
on
overall?
the theme for me is just love. You know what I'm saying? Love and sacrifice, and how the journey of the journey and the sacrifice can build the attachment and the love and the respect for things, you know. And I looked at it like that when she finally named her kids. Like there was a real ownership of their existence. And there was a real meaning to their existence. You know what I'm saying? And
Well, and I don't know if you noticed this, but the kids didn't have names. She just called them boy.
yeah.
Thank you, Chandler.
And then I started thinking about, you know, that's funny you say that, man, because I started saying, oh, was this movie like, you know, anti the whole gender neutral movement? You know, it's like boy, girl. You know what I'm saying? Binary.
You must. You know what though? I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I think that it's more about we need love to conquer fear, and that if you have to think about this, like people committing suicide, like they're literally afraid to continue to live, like that they don't see value in continuing to live. They let their fears overwhelm them, or I don't want to say let. That's not fair, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Fear rules them, and somehow in this story, people who are experiencing some kind of like mental illness, I think those people are actually supposed to be sociopaths. So they're not experiencing fear or love. And so the monsters don't affect them.
So was that the interpretation of why they didn't see?
Well, they could see it. They just were seeing something else. They thought that whatever they were seeing was beautiful, and the other people whatever they were seeing was terrifying.
Right.
But Gary, when he was his whole spiel about people from the mental institution, he was the person from the mental institution, and the other people that attack them at the end, they're experiencing some kind of mental illness. I think maybe the person in the boat that attacks her in the boat, I think he maybe was delusional, and those other people that attack them at the house, they seem to be sociopaths. So I think it's like when you're disconnected from all of your emotions, it's an issue. And then like when you're disconnected from love, you need love to be able to survive. So she should have actually been like the least likely to survive.
But you know what I thought was interesting too is, you know, when they get to the end and she has her big breakdown, she's like, "Don't take my kids."
Right.
But it was like, if you keep your blindfold on, like you're good. Like
No, she's gonna drown, my dude.
no, she was out.
Oh, you talking about in the woods?
She was in the woods. Like, I mean, I get what the problem was is that the demon was trying to convince the children to take off there. But once she had her kids back, it's like they're not going to take them. So why? Like, what are you so terrified about? Like the movie was a little wonky, but I don't know.
But I think it's the juxtaposition of fear and love. So we're right back at Donnie Darko.
Right.
But that's what you're experiencing there.
Yeah, I can roll with that.
I have a theory, and this is what I thought was going to happen during the movie, and it didn't happen. The thing about the mental institution, people are breaking out, and they can look at the creatures, and they don't kill themselves, right? So I immediately thought, okay, what's this movie trying to say about mental illness? The monsters, when people look at the monster creatures, whatever it is, they see things that make them feel emotions. In the case of Mallory's sister, she even says later in the movie she was so sad. I've never seen her sad before, right? So I'm thinking, okay, the creatures represent mental trauma, anguish, depression.
Things are not facing.
Exactly, which is a big issue in society. So I was like, oh, I got this. Like act 1, I got it figured out, right? So then later on, the mental case people break out. They're portrayed as villains in the movie, which also to me, I was like, oh, there's no way this movie's actually saying mentally ill people are dangerous. Because there's no way anyone would say that in 2018, right?
You're being sarcastic, yes.
So,
Oh, in a movie, you mean.
Right.
Okay.
I was like, oh, this must be a twist. There's a red herring. I thought what was going to happen at the end of the movie was that Sandra Bullock, who we saw at the beginning of the movie, has issues with socialization. She's shut off from the world. She's deeply depressed. She's upset about a breakup. I thought she was going to be put in a position where she was going to have to look at the monsters
And figure out, yeah.
and then she would be okay.
Exactly.
Because and the whole thing would be that these creatures are simply waking people up to the issues that others are going through that they can't face. And that's why regular people who don't suffer from that are killing themselves because they can't handle it.
So the movie's Inside Out, basically.
Wow.
So yeah,
Well,
so
it's interesting you say that because this is one of the few movies that, like, I kind of wanted the ending that explains things.
Right.
And usually I'm okay with not explaining things, but I kind of was thinking that. I was like, she's going to realize that she can take her blindfold off and she's going to be fine because
She's gonna be the savior.
she defeated the monsters.
That sounds like that would have been a really good movie.
I think it would have been an ending that makes thematic sense. I think it would have drawn the whole thing together because as it is, without that, mentally ill people are villains in the movie, which I think is pretty gross.
Yeah. It's sad.
Socially, yeah, because we know that
Yeah.
even though they're painted as these evil people, they're more likely to become victims of violence. And
Right.
perpetrators.
And in this movie, it's like, no, they are just killing people.
Similar to in A Quiet Place, she figured out how to defeat the monster.
Right. I mean, and that's a typical horror movie arc. That's
that
what
they're-
happens.
Well, the same thing happened in this one where a person's deficiency became their superpower. So,
Are you talking about that shoehorn blindness thing at
Yeah.
the end? You got to be kidding me with that. That was the most ham-fisted. I think somebody entered my house and beat me over the head with a full honey-baked ham when that happened.
It's very like, no, you're just lucky. You were just
Yeah.
you were lucky. You just didn't. You were born blind. or
Well, no,
you
I mean
became
that
blind.
family. Well, if you think about it, in A Quiet Place, that family could communicate with each other without talking, so
That's
they
true.
became lucky too.
Yeah.
And the thing is, without this thematic resolution at the end, the movie to me feels really uneven. I don't know what the monsters represent. I don't know what the movie's trying to say, other than the love thing, which I think is more textual than subtextual. And so I think when you see all these articles and videos of people trying to interpret the ending, it's because it's unclear.
Yeah.
I think it's because the movie doesn't give you enough to put it together. And ambiguity in films is cool.
It's good, yeah.
I don't think this is
It works.
intentional.
It worked for like
ambiguity.
Get Out, right?
Right.
But it doesn't work here.
Well, I think the screenwriter asked like the author of the book, like, what were the creatures? Can you explain this to me? He was like, I don't fucking know. So that whole like exposition dump with Lil Rel or whatever, that's kind of what the screenwriter made it into. Like there was really no basis.
Yeah.
Like
That
what
they're
the
these
creatures
mythical ancient creatures.
Yeah, that's not in the book at all, I think.
But you know what's crazy? They actually, in doing a little bit of reading, I read that they had actually filmed the creatures.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they made
The
the decision.
description is pretty funny.
The description makes it sound like Ghostbusters, bro.
They're like Slimer.
Yeah, like Slimer looking fucking creatures.
I saw one that said they were like long babies.
Yeah, some weird shit.
So basically, they're like the creatures are a boggart.
Yeah.
Which is a ripoff of Harry Potter. See where we're going here? More unoriginal.
Right, more unoriginal material.
Ridiculous.
Can we put that on a sample and just hit it?
So the crazy part is, to me, that kind of takes away any of like, of the intangible merit to like the film. Some of these theories, right? Like there was intentionally supposed to be a monster. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of takes away the whole like the theory of what people, in a sense, you know, when you talk about bad direction, like to me that supports your case. Is that there was really no subcontext to the film. It was a creature feature, essentially, at the end of the day.
I mean, okay.
Why can't the monsters come indoors? Like they're like outdoor monsters.
I was thinking about that.
They're
too.
outdoor demons. Like they're just strictly.
Well, see that
like,
my whole thing was so until I read that they actually filmed some monsters, my thing was it was psychological.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You like the idea of, you know, if you believe in God and the devil, right? The idea of either one of them, like it's all about how much you let it affect you. You know.
I thought the same thing. I thought that's why the mentally ill people could look at them and they're saying it's beautiful, because seeing something that reflects your worldview is beautiful. That's what we're talking about with representation in cinema, right? With different people groups. Like, so I was on the same track. But I don't think the movie ties that up.
You don't think it's that smart. Did anyone else notice that Sandra Bullock fucking looked at the monster and nothing happened to her?
When did that happen?
In the car, when she's like, "What do you see?" She's looking
She
all
hadn't
the fuck
seen it.
around.
I feel like
She
she
hadn't
didn't
seen
see it.
Yeah.
She didn't see it, but she was looking in the same direction as her sister.
Oh, well,
and
maybe
she doesn't fucking see it.
Maybe the outdoor demons are
not that big.
not that big. Maybe they're tiny. Maybe there's
They were
tiny.
long babies.
Maybe there's like junior. You know.
Well, that kind of goes
long babies and short babies.
then that kind of goes to your theory then. That a little bit goes to your theory, Chandler, about the mental
That
illness.
initially she couldn't see it because she was
I think the
experiencing
movie
that.
gave you my theory, everything until the end,
Until
when
the
it just
end.
didn't do it.
Right.
And so I was very confused.
Gotcha.
Maybe a demon can only be seen by one person at a time. Like
That's what I thought.
Two people can't look at a
Two
demon.
people can't consume a demon at once.
Yeah.
Well, you know that there was never a point where that was happening, so that makes sense.
Yeah,
What
it
did you
kinda
think
does.
of the whole security camera thing?
That was,
That was weird. Yeah, it kind of fell apart.
I
to
wish
me.
because my thing was, so you just locked him in the room and
That
said,
was so strange.
they were like, see you later, tell us how that goes.
You're like, hey, P.T. Wong, I loved you in Jurassic Park, man. Good luck.
You-
Not gonna
like,
give you any lines.
I wish they
man.
would have. I wish they would have explored that more. Like, what if you try to prevent someone from killing themselves? Like, he was tied up. Like, what would happen if you kept him alive?
Right.
Because The Happening didn't do that, and neither did this. I'm like, who is gonna do this?
Right.
Like, so yeah. But I thought it was really weird to just lock him in the room and say,
Right.
fuck it.
Right. All right, let's fill in the box. Let's fill in the blanks, man. Bird Box was blank, but if it blank, it would have been blank.
Bird Box was forgettable.
Okay.
But if it developed its characters better, it would have been a much better film.
Okay.
Phone down.
Bird Box was okay, but if it had a theatrical run, it would have been trash.
Y'all set?
Bird Box was interesting, but if it had been original, I would have cared more.
Bird Box was incoherent, but if it had a couple rewrites, it could have been very impactful.
Bird Box was good to me. But if it showed the fucking monsters, it would have been a disaster.
It already was.
Yeah, if it showed
You're the only one in the room that's like, it's good.
Yeah, but you know what? So on the Kind of Movie Critics page, I did one of those question and answer things, or those polls, yes or no polls. 73% of people said they liked the movie. So you guys are actually part of the minority.
Wow.
And 73% of the people who they're liars about being cinephiles. I said it.
Yeah.
Because there's no way. Like, the monster's literally a boggart from Harry Potter. Except in Harry Potter, it shows you what they see.
Right.
There's a lot of fake flagging, false flagging cinephiles.
Well, I think there's levels to it. You know what I'm saying? It's like some people that like
we
cars.
talked about that.
Yeah, I don't want to get down on anybody for loving movies and just not being as well educated as we are. Like, that's okay. You don't have to be. Everyone's on their journey.
Yeah, and then it's all subjective anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Erica who didn't like Nocturnal Animals.
That's crazy.
Bullshit.
I'm just saying that movie's not for everyone, yo. Like,
Yeah, the opening scene tells you that.
Yeah.
I'm saying Tom
wow.
Ford makes a better suit than he does a movie.
Really? That's
No,
how
I'm
you
just
feel?
kidding.
Oh,
No,
wow.
I never saw the movie. I saw that was a good joke.
No.
Well, the opening
Nocturnal
credits
Animals
are
is a
jarring.
good
It's like if
movie.
you can't
Yeah.
handle the opening credits, like you just walk away.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
But yeah, so that's my take. I don't think cinephiles is there's a lot of layers to it. So there's just a lot of people that aren't educated, and that's where we come in. And we give you a little bit of all of it, the educational part, and like in this particular case, I have really no merit for why I liked it. Like it's just
It made you feel the
it
feels.
just made me
that's
feel the
okay.
feels, But hearing your breakdown, Chandler, like I'm like, fuck, dude, I need to find something wrong with this shit.
You're gonna watch it again.
I
now.
have to with that lens.
Well, I felt the same way when you told me to watch Hold the Dark, and I did, and I was like, yo, I do not like this or understand it. And you gave me the whole academic breakdown.
oh my god,
And it
bro.
did change my perspective. It didn't change how I felt about the movie, but
it
I
changed
was
your
like,
perspective.
wow, I was not dialed in the way I should have been.
I'm shocked, man, because me and you talk about Saulnier, man.
I know, man.
That's but hey, man.
I'm still here for him though.
Me too. I think he's one of the better filmmakers.
Can I
but-
say a couple things about Bird Box that I did like? Because I feel like I was real negative.
Yeah, go
Okay,
for it.
first off, you see a bird and a box very quickly. That's good. Like that's really good, clear filmmaking. Also, there is like the one kill that I hadn't seen before. That's not directly from The Happening. Is when John Malkovich's wife looks up into the sky and sees her mom or whatever, and then she just sits calmly in a
the
burning
burning
car.
car. Yeah.
That is really good stuff.
That was dope.
Did it all peaceful.
Yeah.
It's like,
So, real quick, what did
Everybody
the
else
birds?
tried to end their. That's fair. Everyone else tried to. She's sad in her suffering. Everyone else tried to end their lives very quickly.
Right.
Yeah. What did the birds mean?
Beats me, man.
They could see shit.
They
I
could
don't
just
know.
send
they were a
shit.
warning.
Maybe it's also
Yeah.
like a bite from the Mothman. If you sit up a little higher, your vantage point is different, and you can see things that other people can't see. I don't know.
Oh, that's
but birds
interesting.
in a box though.
You know what? They're in a box. But if the birds were actually looking at the monster, birds, with the exception of owls, I believe, do not have binocular vision,
Okay.
But also,
which
What
means that
is-
they can see two things at once.
Right.
okay, the birds are supposed to warn you, but if you go outside and you never take off your blindfold, what's the fucking point of the birds?
Because the birds let you know when the creature's near.
When
But you
they're
never
near.
take off your blindfold anyways.
But
So
you
don't-
know when you need to be on alert that something may come at you.
that's
But they can only affect you if you take off your blindfold.
That's not
Right.
true because they freaked out when that man came around and he wasn't
Yeah,
the monster
he wasn't
himself.
yeah, that's true.
I think
freak
the
out.
whole-
What do you mean?
The
With-
first
in
guy
the
that was
boat?
outside of
Yeah.
the grocery
But
store when
they-
she figured it out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But why didn't they do it when Homeboy was in the house then?
He could whatever was going on with his eyes wasn't apparent at first either. Like I don't know.
Yeah, they kept that.
Yeah,
It's
they,
a whole-
They dropped. They did drop the ball.
I
there.
think
a
I
whole-
think the whole pitch for this movie was like, sit down at the table. All right, guys, what if bird but box? And they're like, sign the check.
What if bird put box? That's terrible.
I mean, they kind of end up in a box at the end, and like the blind people. Professor
Oh.
X's home for blind people. I mean, and I thought maybe that was supposed to be something like, oh, like they're like the birds, and they're in it. But I mean, that's really shallow.
Yeah, that's low hanging fruit right there.
Thanks.
I mean, not on your behalf. That's probably what they thought. That's what I'm trying to say. But anyway, cool, man. Well, let's leave it here then. Bird Box. Apparently, Treezy's the only kind of movie critic that actually liked it, man, and
It was cool.
it was cool. But Chandler, man, thank you for joining us on this one, man.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah.
You guys are the best.
Is this cathartic for you?
Yeah, I really need to get this off my chest.
Do you want to give people your socials, man? Why?
Yeah, best place to follow me is on Instagram at Chandler Nunnally. That's spelled ChandlerNunnally. The more famous I get, I will consider changing my handle to something more tangible.
That's funny. IRS can find you very easily, by the way.
Me stunting with your paper stacks. You gotta watch that.
Yeah, you gotta watch that. And you know the Kind of Movie Critics socials, man. Kind of Movie Critics on Instagram and on Facebook, man. Join in on some of those group chats on Facebook, and then Kind of Movie Crits, CRITS on Twitter. And then we're on Stitcher, just depending on where you're listening to us. We're on Stitcher, we're on Spotify, Apple, Google Play or Google Music, SoundCloud,
Podcasts.
Google Podcasts. I'm sorry, I don't use the Google platform.
No, there's
but-
2 of them.
Oh, got you. Oh, we're on both of them. Oh, very interesting. But drop your comments, man. Drop your likes, and share it with a friend, man. Greatly appreciated. And happy New Year to everybody. And thanks for holding us down 2018. And look forward for more great content in 2019. And remember, we call ourselves Kinda Movie Critics because we kind of are, and we're kind of not. We're just a bunch of people that like to watch movies.
This has been an On Air Network production.